What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought were possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlevich.
Welcome, I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show is Limitless or Normal. Are you trying to be normal like everyone else? What if you are not? What if you're unique and totally limitless? But before we go to our topic, I'd like you to hear a little bit about me, especially if you're joining me for the first time. I'm a medical doctor by education. I was born in Russia and came to America when I was a teenager, and practiced medicine, family practice for about 10 years. Kind of like went, as I said, from college, medical school, the whole thing. Only to quit at 37 because of open heart surgery, where it stopped me. I would say I stopped me, and we'll talk a little bit more in the show, and became Access Consciousness Facilitator, Akashic Record teacher, and founder of School of Akashic Records, 3-day body facilitator, and I have many hats, including the podcast host. And I always was searching for tools to create my life, to shift and change things, to improve my health. And now I invite people to a different possibility with classes around the world and private sessions. And you can find out more on my website, creatingabundancewithease.com. So, Limitless or Normal. Before we even go to the show, let's do a little meditation to kind of get us in the mood and see, what are we? Are we actually normal, all of us? And what is normal? Or are we totally infinite, totally like one with the universe? So if you're sitting, wonderful. You can sit down, lay down. Don't close your eyes if you're driving, but if you're not, you have a choice of closing your eyes, keeping your eyes open. But if you have your eyes open, make them a little unfocused or soft focus, like we say, with kind of like maybe looking at the blank wall, or looking about 5 feet or a couple of meters in front of you, kind of like not paying attention to anything in front of you. Put your hands on your body somewhere, maybe on your legs, maybe doing one of the yoga poses. I wouldn't recommend lotus, but if you can, if it's comfortable, please do half lotus, or just cross-legged, or just laying in a bed or sitting on a chair. Just feel your body and relax your body. Kind of like take a deep breath in and breathe out. Take another breath in and breathe out. Open your crown and allow the light of the universe to go through your body, through your feet into the earth, and pull the energy of our planet into your body, through your body, and out of your head. And you don't have to know how, you don't have to kind of like feel it, or just ask for it. And just imagine it if it's easier for you. Allow your kind of like attention to go into your heart and see the energies mixing in the middle of your chest where your heart is, and allow that to expand. if you have any barriers, and by barriers I mean you put up protection, you put up any sort of boundaries, right now for the next, I don't know, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, allow those barriers to drop. Just ask them. Barriers down, barriers down, barriers down, and allow yourself to expand. Maybe to the size of the room. Try to feel or sense the walls of this room or corners of the room with your consciousness without actually touching them. And now expand maybe a kilometer or mile, depending where you are, where you're listening to the show, now or in the future, doesn't matter. Still expand maybe 10 kilometers, 10 miles. And as I say, they're interchangeable. It's just a measurement. If you're in America, it will be miles. If you are anywhere else, Europe or Asia, it's kilometers. So when I say miles, just imagine kilometers. Even they're not the same. I think 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. So you don't have to multiply. Just allow your consciousness, your mind, or actually it's not the mind, but your energy to expand. And expand even more. 100 miles, 1,000 miles, 10,000 miles. Make yourself as big as your country, bigger than your country, and now the size of our planet and bigger. Kind of go outside the edges of our planet, embody the planet like you're embodying your body, and now go even bigger. And from that space, look at our planet, sense everybody on it, and expand into space. Make yourself as big as our solar system, our galaxy, universe, and beyond. And go to infinity. And from that space, do you have any limit? You don't have any limit. You're beyond the limits. But what do we do in our lives? How much smaller were you when we started? A lot of times we are contracted so much that we are not even fully in our bodies. We might be only in our head. And how much energy does it take to contract that infinite being into that small of the space of our cranium, our head? A lot. So if you contract it, just expand again. And by the way, if you're curious and would like to do that exercise more, it's on my website, Creating Abundance with Ease, by signing up for my newsletter, which you can always unsubscribe. You can download it for free. And just expand again. And just sense what's going on with your body. Because your body is now inside of you. The planet is inside of you. The whole universe is inside of you. Your whole reality, your whole life is inside of you. Is that normal? Totally not. And if you're not watching me, if you're just listening, I'm just shaking my head. No. We are not normal. None of us are. We are very unique. But we're trying to create us and contract us and mutilate us into what everybody else expects of us, what we expect of us, what our family expects of us. And did you notice that wherever you go, you're different. With different people, you're different. So what do you do? How do you become different with different people? You shut parts of you with different people. Is it the wrongness? No. There is nothing wrong with that. It's a coping mechanism and also it's sometimes what protects us, because we know how to be, what to say with different people. But what if we didn't have to shut down us and just play the roles, what we need to play with other people? What we do when we are with different people and being different person ourselves, not only do we kind of like, we just become a different person, because we not only shut down those parts, we cut them up. It's almost like, think of a car. Somebody is driving, let's say, one of those smart cars, but there is 10 people in there, and you're trying to fit into that little car. So you either have to contract to a tiny, small person, or start cutting your arms and legs, maybe even the head, to fit into that space where everybody expects you to be. But what if we don't have to? What if we don't have to be normal? What if we just pretend to be normal while knowing and being us? How much more fun would it be? There is a wonderful book that I'm actually in the process of reading right now, Dying to Be Me. And that's actually the premise of the book, because Anita Majani, she actually died to kind of like, she created cancer so she can come back and be herself and not to fit into anybody's reality, because it took her near-death experience to realize that she doesn't have to be somebody else. She doesn't have to pretend. She doesn't have to be normal. And this is actually time for our first of the breaks of the show. When we return, we'll talk more about being ourselves and being unique instead of being normal, and how much being normal actually hurts us and hurt our bodies. How much of we are actually dying to be us, or dying not to be something we're not. So with that, I'm going to leave you, and you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone, and I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is limitless or normal. And before we went on a break, we were talking about that a lot of times we're trying to fit into other people's reality, and by virtue of that, trying to be normal, we're cutting off parts of us to the point that we are creating illnesses, cancer, dying, or dying to be us, like the book that I'm reading right now, with everything that's going on in our lives. Look at that right now. How much of day-to-day activities are shutting down parts of you or all of you? How much are you killing your body with a lot of things that you're doing or not doing? Because we talk a lot about purpose of life. You could hear it in a lot of spiritual stations and in a lot of books. What is my purpose? People ask when they come for my sessions. And by the way, if you're interested in private sessions or classes, you can go to my website, creatingabundancewithease.com, and check it out and download the meditation we did in the first part, which is expansion meditation. It's a little bit more extensive than I did on the show, and you can do it every single day to get in touch with who and what you truly are. Because a lot of times with, as I said, our life, we are not being us, depending on who we're with, what we're doing. We present the world just a tiny little piece of us. They talk about the brain activity being only 3 to 7%, and 7% if you're genius like Einstein. So average person works on about 5-6% of their brain. And actually, with our being, we work even less than that. Because if you did the exercise in the first part when we expanded, and you can just do it right now, just allow your consciousness to wander and kind of like expand into the universe and see how far you can go without touching the walls where you cannot go any further, and you'll find that it's infinite. It's totally limitless. And yet, in this world, we are not limitless. We confine ourselves, if we are lucky, to the size of our body. Usually it's smaller. Parts of our brain, parts of our... Some people maybe function from their heart, and they contract into their heart. Some people contract into their brain or some other parts of your body, and I'm not saying it on the radio because there might be some kids listening. And it depends how the person functions in their lives, from where they function, what they like, what they don't like. But what if, just saying, just if we start functioning from that limitless us, totally limitless energy? Because, okay, let's do it again. Expand, completely expand, pull energy through your crown, through your feet, and allow yourself to expand into infinity. How is your energy level? Even if before we did that, you were tired, how much energy do you have right now? A lot, right? How much can you accomplish from that space? A lot. How much can you create, generate, and be from that space. Lately, Dr. Dane has been talking about, because you know how we say it's time now, but he's talking about it's space now. Space is now. Now is a space, which means that there is a possibility of functioning from the space, from the infinite us, not just like 0.00001% of us. I don't think it's even that big. I think it's probably smaller, because think of infinite. If you divide that infinite into the size of us, or actually us into like infinite, it's infinite small. I think to find out the percentage, you have to divide the size of us by the size that we can be. And like any number you divide by infinity will be infinitely small. So if we increase it by just a little bit, it's still infinite small, but it's better than none. So what if we start functioning from actual power we are, and allow us to create from that space? And one of the tools of access I love is the question, what else is possible? So what else is possible when we do that? We would not fit into this reality, because we're bigger than that. Think about the infinite us. Reality actually fits inside of us. Our life fits inside of us. Our body fits inside of us. And what if it's actually what required? How much we can change in our lives if we function from Limitless. There is a movie, Limitless. And then there was, I think, TV show with that, where there was a drug that allowed our brain to function pretty much with no limit. And the guy took it and he became really limitless. He created huge wealth. He was able to function at a totally different way. He was not normal. And yet, he could accomplish so much more. So what if we don't have to be normal? Because we are not. None of us are. Look at your life. And it's actually funny, because when I was growing up in Russia, I was trying to fit in. And I was bullied. I was Jewish, in a school where there was, I think, probably a couple more people who were Jewish. Everybody else were Russian. And what's interesting, in Russia, it wasn't considered religion, because there was no religion in Russia. It was society were denied. The religion was totally denied, totally, it was called opium for people, basically narcotic for people. And if people practiced any religion, a lot of times they were persecuted. So Jewish was considered a nationality, just like Russian, Ukrainian, and it was written in passport. So there was not only discrimination, but a lot of, I would say, anti-Semitism and bullying at school. I always wanted to kind of like be like everybody else. As a child, you try to be like everybody else, but it was impossible. I looked different. I had darker hair. I had curly hair. Everybody had straight hair. My nose was a little bigger and a little more crooked than everybody else, because everybody else's nose was like this. And if you're watching, it's like the tip of the nose goes up, mine goes down. So everybody knew I was different. And yet, I would totally contract and feel bad and come home crying because I was not like everybody else. Now, I look at that and it's like if I had that little girl in front of me, and let's do that actually. If you're watching, listening to me right now live or in the future, it doesn't matter. And I know everybody, unless you were popular kids, you probably were bullied at one point of your life. At one point of your life, were you trying to be like everybody else. At one point of your life, you were contracted and felt awful. So see that kid in front of you. If you were abused, doesn't matter. See that kid in front of you. And tell that kid what you know now. That it's not a wrongness to be different. It's actually a gift. Because everybody is different. It's just like instruments in an orchestra. Everybody is important. And there is no two fiddles alike. No two musicians play the fiddle the same. Even if there are 10 fiddles, they're still different. Even if they play the same music, they don't play the same. We each are either instruments or musicians, actually both, I would say, instruments and musicians of our lives. And in the symphony, everybody is important. Everything is important, every instrument. Even one note, if you take one note out of the symphony, it's not going to be the same. It will be different. Even that little triangle that just does ding somewhere in the middle or at the end, it completes the symphony. So what if we stop judging ourselves as wrong by being different? And instead of killing our bodies to be like everybody else, we actually start living and being and enjoying our bodies, our lives as the uniqueness we are. And time flies. This is time for our second break of the show. And when we return, we'll talk more about how to function as a unique person. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And we will be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Magic and abundance are everywhere. What if you could tap into abundance and start creating your life with complete and total ease? Working with Dr. Helen Gitlevich will give you exactly that, total ease in creating abundance in your life. Dr. Gitlevich creates classes all over the world, both in person and online. She works with you to create abundance with your money, with your body, with your relationships, with all areas of your life with total ease. Connect with Dr. Helen Gitlevich at creatingabundancewithease.com. Her contribution in your world will be a noticeable gift in a very short period of time.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is Limitless or Normal. And in the first two parts of the show, if you're joining us now, in the first two parts, we were talking about how important it is to be us, and that we are not normal, we are unique. And we did an exercise in the first part of expansion. And you can find that exercise either in the first part of the show or download the meditation from my website, Creating Abundance with Ease. And you can find more about me, a blog, and the classes, or how to find me as far as private sessions on my website, creatingabundancewithease.com, on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube. They all have similar Creating Abundance with Ease pages, or just my personal pages, Helen Gitlevich. And you can search more. I think I'm also on the tweet, but I'm not there. But I am on LinkedIn. So our show, uniqueness versus normal. And what is normal? Because look at your friends and family. How normal are they? And what is normal? There is no normal. There is what's called, like in statistics, there is norm, which is kind of like, I think it's one standard deviation, it's like majority, then there is 2 standard deviation of the curve, and then there is 3 standard deviation, and then there is outskirts. So everybody kind of like on that curve, but there is no normal. Each person is individual. And yet the marketing industry and media, everybody is kind of like trying to create the etalon of normal, the standard of normal. When you look at the beauty, let's say, beauty industry, the models are skinny. They're pretty much like the hangers where the clothes hang. Are there any normal person that looks like that? There are, but again, each one is different. Even models are different. None of them look the same, or the same, like perfect size. And yet they project it. Also, when you look through time, it's the standard of beauty was different. Even as short of a span of a time, in 1960s, Playboy Bunny, which is kind of like, I would say, one of the standards, was I think 5'6" and weighing 145 pounds, so I would say about size 12 to 14, which would be considered nowadays as overweight and maybe even obese. With models now, it's size 0, and I think they're like 5'9", 5'10", weighing about 100 pounds or 110 pounds. If you go a couple of hundred years ago, the standard of beauty, like somebody who is beautiful, actually would be overweight. If you look at the paintings of Rubens, or any Baroque paintings, or even like any Renaissance painting, you would see all women or men were fat because that's considered healthy and prosperous. Because thin people were only poor. They didn't have enough money for food, so they were very skinny. And that's usually meant that they were ill. Illness considered, like with a lot of illness, people lose weight, like cancer. So it's a double edge. When you're looking to try to be normal, especially with the beauty industry, and trying to diet and trying to do all kinds of like extra exercise to fit into that size that fits all on the media, which doesn't fit anybody. And yet, by going with all the latest fads of nutritional health, how much are you killing your body? Being a body facilitator, we talk a lot about asking our body, what does body like to eat, what the body likes to wear, who the body would like to sleep with, and so on and so forth, because everything about this world, physical world, is about the body. Yes, we are infinite being, and infinite embodiment in that, because our being includes everything, all the plants, animals, people, and planets. And our body can sense that because we have energetic awareness of everything around us. And yet our physical body is the one that sleeps. Our physical body is the one that eats. Our physical body is the one that has sex. Our physical body drives the car. Our body is traveling by air. Not flying with our wings, but flying on the airplane. And it would have been fun if we had our wings back. So how much we are ignoring that part of us and actually shutting it down, because that's considered by some religion sinful or dirty or bad or not important. And you work only on the spirit, or trying to submit your body into the image of the normalcy. So what if we don't do that? What if we start asking our body, what would you like to eat? Irregardless of what the latest fad of nutrition is. And by the way, I've done a lot of diets in my life. When I came, I was slightly overweight. I was pretty much maybe same size, maybe a little bit less, and I lost about 30 pounds when I came doing Atkins diet. It didn't do me any good because it was not a healthy way of doing it, and eventually I created hypoglycemia with that. So my sugar would drop, kind of like out of nowhere. But I tried to fit into this reality. And as I said, I struggled with eating disorders pretty much most of my life. I wouldn't say I'm completely free from that, but it's much better now with actually respecting my body, knowing my body has consciousness and asking it. With that, I would like to kind of like ask you to start listening to your body. Because for me, when I actually listen to it, my body starts looking and feeling different. I wouldn't say normal, but maybe normal for me. The unique body that I have is amazing, and what I found is loving it and be grateful for it changes things in the body. Because we can change anything in the body if we ask it to change. A lot of pain that we have is not actually real. It's just our body is communicating to us. And yes, that pain feels very real when it hits. Don't get me wrong. It hurts. One of the pains I kind of like let go was my migraines. Ever since I was a kid, I had horrible migraines where I couldn't even function. I would throw up. I couldn't be in the light. Like literally, I had to close the shutters and lay in a dark room. When I started Access, I found out that my migraine was actually not a migraine, but Earth communicating with me. And we have an interesting tool in Access. Who does it belong to? Is it mine, somebody else's, or something else's? And I found out my migraines, and they were pretty much constant. I'm talking about like as a kid, went through many doctors, acupuncture, you name it, I've had it, massages, chiropractors, everything, and worked for a little bit and then it would come back. So with my first foundation class, actually with my first bars, my headache started getting lighter. But with my first foundation class, and as I said, you can find out about them on my website or on accessconsciousness.com, I found out that was Earth communicating with me. And what happens when we don't hear the radio, or we don't hear somebody talking, or they don't hear us? We raise our voice, we up the volume. So is our body. So when we don't listen, the intensity of information goes up, and so eventually it's so intense that we perceive it as pain. Sometimes there is a reason for that, the illness that we created, that the body had been telling us before it got to be a problem, but we didn't listen until the illness, or like cancer, heart disease, became so intense that we have to do something about it. But the body was screaming at us even before. But it's even more intense when it's not ours. And I'll say it again. It's more intense when it's not ours. So I realized that it was Earth communicating. So I started asking more questions, and one of the ways to change it is to give that energy that Earth is asking for. So scan your body, and let's do it on 3. Kind of like take that pain that you have or any discomfort you have in your body and send it to Earth. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you can go up, down, because Earth is everywhere and in front of you. You're not giving it to anybody else. You're just giving the energy to Earth. And what I found when I did that, the intensity of headache started subsiding. And I negotiated or talked to my body, and it's like, body, sweet body, can we lower the intensity next time? I'm hearing that Earth is asking for that energy, or somebody else is asking for the energy. I'll give that energy. Just lower the intensity. Nowadays, I rarely get any headaches, and even if it is, it's not intense to the point where I cannot deal with that. And I always ask, it's like, okay, Earth, is it mine, somebody else's, something else's? If it's somebody else's, I return it back. If it's Earth, I give it to Earth. If it's mine, then I start asking more questions. And we'll talk more about that after the break, because it's our 3rd and final break of the show. And when we return, we'll talk more about it. You've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And we will be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to sneeze. So welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is Limitless or Normal. And this is our last segment of the show where we've done a lot in the last three. We've done the exercise of being limitless, infinite, through expansion exercise. We realize that we are just, when we are in our body and contracted, we use infinitely small amount of our abilities, capacities, and us. We also talked a lot about how much we're trying to cut ourselves up and contract to fit into the images that other people would like us to be or us be. And we talked about pain and how much we neglecting our body and what we can do to shift and change that. And I know it's kind of like the last segment, so I'd like to remind you that it's not the last show. So it's going on every Wednesday at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And depending where you are, you can find out on my website what are actual times and the links and everything that you can listen on the app, which is the free app now available, ICN, Inspired Choices Network, that has all hosts, all shows, all past episodes. You can also catch all the recordings that are on YouTube, on pretty much on all the platforms, including iTunes and Spotify and SoundCloud. So you can have all those podcasts and TV shows on TV. So, oh, somebody said bless you in the chat. Thank you. And next week we are going to be talking about refusal of choice. So we'll talk about, and that's kind of connected, of us being normal instead of being limitless. Because when we are normal and contracted, we don't have much choice. But that's actually by not being limitless, we refuse the choice. So we'll talk about that next week. Also, there are a few classes coming up. There is a facelift class, which is amazing body process that I'm going to facilitate in Buffalo Grove, Chicago area on October 9. It's a full day class. Also 3-day body class in Taiwan in November, which will or will not happen depending on the travel restrictions due to COVID. And keep looking at the website. There would be some workshops coming up that will be free, as well as the paid ones. Some program I'm looking at doing a 30-day program of energy pulse to create your life. And what if you actually choose to be you instead of dying to be you, like I talked before with Anita Marjani, who actually created cancer to finally be who she is. What if we don't have to create illness to choose to be us? And there will be some Being You classes that will be coming up in the next few months, either online or in person or both. And let's talk a little bit about our bodies, because our bodies are not normal. And we started talking about that in our third segment. But it's also very important for us to connect to the body. Body talks in whispers, in energy. There's an amazing book, and I highly, highly recommend it, Body Whispering by Dr. Dane Hare. It just came out a few months ago or more, and it talks exactly about that. Our show is coming to the end. We have only a couple of minutes left, I think about 3. I would like to do a little exercise, and if you're watching, you will see me rubbing my hands and creating a little energy between the hands. And I've done that exercise a number of times on podcasts, and you can watch. So just create a little energy and touch your body, maybe on your face, on your head, and just say, thank you, body. Thank you, body, for being with me. Thank you for taking care of me. And what if you stop kind of like pushing your body into submission by diets, exercise, and start asking, body, what would you like? What kind of movement, not even exercise, because think of it. It sounds almost like exorcism when you exorcise the evil spirits or remove the evil spirits. What if instead of asking what exercise body would like, you would ask, what movement would you like to have or do? Body, sweet body, what can we create together? Body, what would like to eat that will create more for us? If you don't like some parts of your body, ask, body, what would it take for us to change that? And with that, a lot of things can shift and change just by asking. And yes, you will not believe me, but I had a woman in my 3-day body class who lost 2 sizes. Literally, her pants were falling off by the end of 3 days. So she had to kind of like get a rope to hold it up. There were like so much magic, and with facelift I've seen anything from wrinkles disappearing to the point where, well, people accused me of having surgical facelift and Botox injection. And when I looked at the actual energies in a facelift, it's a very gentle hands-on process. One of the energies was actually cosmic Botox and God's laser. So we actually work with energies that create a different reality with the bodies. With facelift, it's also about shifting and changing the energies in the body, and you can do healing of different things, not just wrinkles. And as I said, this is kind of like, I wouldn't say the end of the show, but end of this episode. And I'll see you next week on the Refusal of Choice, next Wednesday at 11 o'clock, or the recording. And bye-bye. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Creating Abundance with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlevich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your life and your body.